For the video.
Howell.
Prior to becoming a school library media specialist, what did you do?
I began my education as a second grade teacher at Frank Long Elementary, actually, here in Hinesville. And then went on to another elementary at Richmond Hill, because that's where I live, at second grade again. And then I did a couple of years as a media specialist up in the Atlanta area at Sandy Springs Middle School. And then I came here.
What inspired you to pursue a degree in school library media?
I guess the first thing was the love of reading, and how even in the classroom I had my own little library and I worked with my students so much with their reading, and this just kind of made sense and carry over.
Where did you receive your training or degree?
The beginning was ABAC, which is Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, which is in Tifton, Georgia. And they were doing a dual enrollment program with Valdosta State University. So those were combined. And then I wound up going back to school at Georgia Southern to get my master's.
Is there anything that you did not receive either in your educational program or field experience that you wish had been included?
Not really, because I think it's a lot like teaching. You go to school for it, but you don't know what it's like until you actually get in there. And I really got the idea of being this based on my media specialist at Richmond Hill Elementary. But the role she played and the role I played once I actually got the job in Sandy Springs, and then the role I play now, it's totally different. It depends on your admin and it depends on your school.
What professional organizations are you a member of?
GAE.
Okay. Talk to me about your background in technology prior to becoming a media specialist.
I think that I started off with a very firm foundation with technology, because when I was at Frank Long, they were that school decided to start off a project, an instructional technology school is what they were calling it at the time. And so they brought in all these different things that we had to use and we had to train on, and they had to be in our lesson plans. And so I just started off using it and being used to it. And then when I got to Richmond Hill Elementary after that, it wasn't required, but I was used to it and I missed it. And I'm actually the one that got us using document cameras in that school that I was at, because no one even knew what a document camera was. So I started off with a very firm foundation in technology.
How do you determine the collection needs of your library?
As in, how do we order it?
Yes, like or just how do you know what books you need in the library, for example? Like, is it the students, the staff?
I would say what the students ask for, because we do let them give us recommendations, but then we look at reviews and see, like when the new releases are, we go back and look in the catalog and see what's been checked out. And if this series is being checked out, then we make sure we continue the series. If it hasn't been checked out in 2 or 3 years, then we don't. So we just kind of base it on what's going on with the students.
What role do you play within the school as far as a technology specialist?
When COVID hit, we became the first line of defense for, we turned our whole website, our part of the website, into a digital den, and we became the help base. And it got to where during COVID that we were the first line of defense, but even after COVID, we would still have parents call and we would have students call whenever they were absent. And so we are still that. So first of all, that's what we are. We are the helpline for the school. And then second of all, we're the ones that handle the devices and whatnot. And then we're I guess you would say, the assistant for admin, because we make sure all their technology is ready and things that they need.
As far as reading for pleasure, what genre do you enjoy?
I like dystopian and I like realistic fiction. I'm a vampire and witch and all that kind of stuff in present day kind of person.
What are you currently or have recently been reading for pleasure?
I have a lot going on. I am usually listening to a series at the same time that I'm reading a series. So right now I have a series of Sarah Moss going on. her Throne of Glass. I'm on my second round of that, and I'm also doing the Elementals. I think that's the two that I'm doing right now, and then I have my own cozy ones that I listen to. It's the Cozy Witch books, so I'm listening to those right now. So I'm always listening to something.
How do you encourage struggling readers?
Here in this, I guess here what we do is we create games and activities for them. It's a little different than being in the classroom, but kind of basing it on things that we did in the classroom, and we're just doing it in here. My para was a para in the classroom before she was in here, and she helped in the classroom, and I was in the classroom, so we just kind of carried that over into here. So we just make it fun. We do a lot of games and things with them.
What role do you see the school librarian and the school library playing in the overall reading program of the school?
Being that I'm a member of the literacy team committee, we're doing everything we can to get more reading in here. And it's a little tough because we're a high school, because every time you mention a lower level, they seem to think that it's too low for our students. We went into that whenever we got book fair. We've had book fair back. I think this will be our third year with book fair. We brought it back into the high school. They don't have high school books. They have young adult, but it's more geared towards middle school because they don't think high school needs it anymore. But based on our reading scores, you can tell that we need it at this grade level. So we do things like that, and we have a school-wide dear time where the teachers are supposed to drop everything and read 20 minutes with them. And we're just constantly doing things like that. We're gonna do Bean Stack beginning next year, along with the elementary teachers and the middle school teachers, which is gonna take the place of AR, but we're gonna do it here too, because we're constantly trying to get students to read.
What are some of the ways that the school library and media specialist can promote and encourage professional reading among the faculty?
They're invited to be in book club, so we have had some staff members be in book club. We also get enough money, thankfully, that we always offer for them to give us ideas for them and books that they like to read and books that they like to have in class sets for their students.
Do you normally lead professional development in your school? Do you find that the PD that you lead is more on the technology side, library resources, materials, and equipment, or is it a combination of all?
It's a combination. I think since we're trying so hard to push the reading, we've been able to do more with that because we actually used the grant to get AR for 1 year here, and we went through the process of training the teachers and all of that. So we do that kind of stuff, but it's definitely probably more technology.
How do you ensure your own continued professional growth?
Because every new technology thing out there is always thrown at us. We tend to be the guinea pigs for the tech office. And on top of that, Mr. Ryan is always trying something new, and we're having to learn that. And just with technology changing, we're constantly having to learn how to do it. And then we have to teach our students and we have to teach our staff. So as long as I'm in this profession, there's no problem with me continuing technology.
What steps can the school librarian take to encourage reluctant teachers to utilize the library?
That's a good one because we have a hard time getting them to do the dear time because they feel like it's interrupting what they're doing when they should be reading at some point anyway, and they should just work a lesson plan around that. That's what I did when I was in the classroom, and don't see the need for students to be able to read even though they have struggling readers in their content areas. And they should be taking advantage of the class sets that we have available for them and letting their students read on those topics. And some of them don't take advantage of that.
You mentioned COVID earlier. How has COVID impacted the day to day operation of your media center?
I think one of the biggest things is the freedom. We used to have students in first thing in the morning, we would be swamped. And even now, just this year, we're starting to have more in here, but it's not really allowed they blame it on the students because the students have been out for so long and they don't know how to behave. So now that they've come back and they don't have social skills and the way they behave, they make them, I guess they have more restrictions on them. So we're just now getting to where we have some in the mornings. So I think it has done some damage. It's done some damage with the kids with social issues and whatnot.
Has COVID altered any circulation statistics at all?
Mm, I'm sure it has, but I will say that whenever we were doing the COVID time, we did let them check out books. So what we would do is they would check out books and we would meet them on the bus ramp and give them books during that time. And we also started ordering a lot of ebooks and audiobooks during that time.
What are some ways that you are able to generate funding when school or district budget run out or is it's non-existent?
To get more books and resources,
Yes.
grants.
Okay.
We write lots of grants. We've won a lot of coastal electric grants, and we're constantly looking for grants and writing grants. It's not hard.
Are you seen as a teacher, administrator, instructional technology specialist, or a combination of all three at your school?
I think a combination, but probably the least would be the teacher. Um, we make sure that we have teachable moments because we have the activities and the games and all that we do. But with everything else we have to do and the role that we're expected in this setting, there's not a lot of time for a lot of teaching. So we have to roll it out in different ways, and that's why we do the games and activities and all.
What are the expectations of your school administration regarding the library program?
To be honest, they're very supportive. They've been very supportive of anything we've ever done, anything we've ever asked for, but I think it's because of the participation we get and how much support we get from our teachers. Because even though some of them are not as interested, we have a lot that just love it. And all these games and all that I keep talking about, when I say game, it's the, what do you call it, the gamified stuff that we're going to. That's all it is. It's content-based material, but it's turned into a game. And teachers will bring their kids in here, and sometimes they get a grade on this stuff, or sometimes it's used for rewards. So we've had a lot of support for that, and as long as we're doing that, the admin is happy.
You mentioned having a paraprofessional before. What are your expectations of that person?
My para is more like a media specialist than a para. Most people think that she is a media specialist because she moves around like an equal. She is a very different kind of para. I think my expectations would be a lot less than what she gives. I just want somebody that's willing to do for the kids, be grateful and happy and work with the staff and be able to work together and put them first. And she's more than that.
What advice would you give to someone just entering the field of school library media?
Just remind them that school doesn't prepare you for it. It's not what you think it's going to be. Just like in my experience, going to school to be a teacher, you didn't know what it was going to be until you got here. And I think I mentioned this earlier, it depends on your setting and it depends on your administrator as to what you're going to be expected to do at your media center. Because what I do here is totally different than what I did at Sandy Springs Middle School. The expectations are totally different.
Okay, thank you.